So cheat code, for some reason, if I don't know, Luke, if you ever become the editor of this podcast,
up, down, left, right. A, start, select.
A cheat code, if you ever need a stinger, is just find a moment where we say, oh, we're cutting that, and then we laugh. That's always funny. So, Luke, you're a lifelong, I guess ever since 1995, Panthers fan. So, just let's, I think this is a good, temperature of the fan base. When's the last time you've watched a Panthers game?
Hilariously enough, I watched it a few weeks ago.
Really?
There
you go.
Yeah.
Once you heard Bryce Young wasn't in the bed anymore.
Yeah, I watched part of that. Football game.
I guess that was the last game of the regular season.
Roughly.
That's back when they were competitive.
But let's see, actual seasons. When was the last year that Cam was on the Panthers before he got put in the free agency? I think it was.
Oh,
probably would have been 17, 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still one of my all-time favorite players of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was when I last was actually legitimately paying attention to it. I pop in for games like, you would when you stick your head in to see what people are doing in the room next door. But other than that, I don't really pay attention to them that much.
You poke your head in 30-0. I'm out of here.
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
It's amazing how the franchise was in a sorry state before he got there. They were awesome the entire time he was there, and then he left, and they've been in a sorry state ever since.
I mean, are we surprised?
It's
Cam
really
was 1 in a million.
Yeah, even though people like to give him a lot of crap, he was good at what he did.
Black tax, you know how that is.
But I think it was weird seeing Bryce Young start to do more the past few games. I was just like, I wanted to be, I wanted to be nice and be like, hey, good job. But it's just the season's almost over. I feel like you could have done that, a few games sooner,
Yeah, but look at the team they put around him, though. It was garbage.
It could have been better,
and crush his confidence. And then eventually, I think the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton had a Drew Bledsoe to Brady moment and just told him to sling it, kid. And he got better.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, looking at Bryce Young's season stats is not really super informative because of how kind of bad he was early on. But I mean, if you just look at the game log, I mean, he kind of crapped out against Dallas in December, but every other game since then has been pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he got benched. Yeah, there was somewhere in there he got benched for Andy Dalton, and then Andy Dalton was terrible, and he came back. And
well, he did win that one game though against the Raiders.
And I mean, yeah, you look at all the stats like completion percentage, yards, yard average, and those are all going up. Sacks are going down, etc. Yeah, I mean, he was left for dead. We were already calling him a bust.
Damn, Luke, you're about his height. Wait, what you because he's 5'10". That's about your height, ain't it? Or taller than that.
I'm 5'11", 6 foot.
Shoot, you're taller than the starting quarterback. Dope.
No, but so I mean, that was a thing that was said about him before he was drafted. Because, there have been, quote, short, unquote, quarterbacks who have been successful in the NFL. Russell Wilson.
Flutie,
yeah. Russell Wilson is 5'11", famously. Drew Brees, famously, I think is only 6 foot. So, I mean, they were awesome. But, yeah, they were saying...
Kyler Murray on a good day.
Yeah, Kyler.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I remember somebody was saying, I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was something before Bryce Young was drafted, it was there have, only been a handful of quarterbacks literally ever in the NFL who have been under 5'11", and none of them have been good. So we're really in just completely uncharted territory with him. But on the other hand, it's also you know what? I know college football doesn't literally automatically translate to the NFL, clearly. Otherwise, I don't know, Tim Tebow would have been good. But Sometimes you have to like look at what you actually see somebody do on the football field, and just like
I'll raise you another one. Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football.
God. He also didn't really even try.
Tebow is better than him.
Tebow tried. He just, it turns out his God-given abilities were just not good enough.
He's still a good-looking dude, and he's got a playoff win.
Yeah, yep.
Johnny Football wish he had that.
It's true. You see that all the time too. Guys who like run a slow 40 time, but just play way faster than they should.
Brady, when he ran.
Well, no, but Brady's game wasn't predicated on his running. I don't know. Like, I want to say Puka Nacua did not run like a crazy fast 40 time. He just plays fast. Anyway.
Man, Puka just know how to play the game.
Yeah.
Plus, he's got some luscious locks, man.
So, I have high hopes for Bryce Young. David Tepper, man.
It's bad when you have people wishing they had a sexual harasser back as the owner.
Oh.
Yeah.
By the way, I think it's still there because, Jerry Richardson had a statue of himself made outside the stadium where it's like he's standing there next to like a panther, I guess. It's like the cringiest you've ever seen. And I believe he wrote it into like the contract. It was a condition of his selling the team that the statue had to stay there. Hey, everybody, this is Dan here with your DVD Cast Pod fact check. So the Jerry Richardson statue was actually removed from outside the Panthers stadium in the summer of 2020 during the George Floyd protests because the Panthers were concerned that protesters were going to specifically target the statue, given Jerry Richardson's, we'll just say, history of allegations of both racial and sexual misconduct. So, yeah, the statue's gone. The statue's been gone for a while. Anyway, this has been Dan with your DVD fact check. And as we all know, if you fact check something, that means you're biased.
It still looks like him. So it's a decent statue. Just it's cringe that it just reeks of ego, but it's a good statue.
It's not the Dwayne Wade statue.
No, what about
Luke? Have you seen this? Hold on.
Also, show him the Deion Sanders enshrinement head.
Yeah, Luke. I'm sharing my screen, so you should be able to see this over Discord. Look at this statue.
That's not it.
Does that look like Dwayne Wade to you?
What's wrong with his face?
They played NBA Live instead of NBA 2K.
Man, shoot, Han Solo and Carbonite look better than him.
Ronaldo's bust is pretty bad too. Yeah, I mean, it's like if somebody took that famous
up Deion Sanders,
that famous court drawing of Tom Brady and made that a statue.
And the memes when he's ET. Yo, search Deion Sanders Hall of Fame enshrinement head. That they jacked that one up. Anyways, how about the Cowboys?
The Cowboys.
Oh, Scott and the Cowboys not do good this season. I haven't been paying attention a lot, so
that's an understatement.
Oh, did they do worse than the Panthers? Because that would be something else.
No, but
Jerry Jones is still trying to run the team, and he's like a month older than Joe Biden.
Back in my day.
Plus, he didn't win those Super Bowls. Jimmy Johnson did. But the fact they ain't had nothing since him is just a testament to just how good he was with the Cowboys. I mean, and that's when they had...
What is it? The Cowboys have like one playoff win since their last Super Bowl?
I mean, and remember, they had Bill Parcells tuna at one point, man. And still couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Quincy Carter.
A case of see what had happened was.
I feel like the Cowboys are the Bears just with more wins.
Nah. Historically, they're not.
So speaking of weird football hijinks that have gone down, So someone explained to me that actually watches football in the present day. What happened with the Chiefs Broncos game? I understand probably they were in their reserves or something, but they got like manhandled.
Oh, the Broncos beating the Chiefs 34-0.
Yeah, that was sad.
So it was the last game of the season. The Chiefs had wrapped up everything meaningful to play for, and they just rested all their starters.
Yeah.
And the Broncos were like trying to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that was just wacky end of season bullshit.
Yeah, it was basically the Chiefs JV team. As in, you better not put Patrick Mahomes out there and get his name blown out. So
What?
Which, if you're the New England Patriots, you rest all your starters and still find a way to win.
I saw a quote from the quarterback. The quarterback was like, "Hey, I ain't played in a few games, so I decided to go out there and play."
Who was the backup? Was Carson Wentz?
Yeah, it was Carson Wentz. Yeah,
Wasn't he on the Eagles at some point? Why did he get traded over there?
he was the Eagles starter the year that they won the Super Bowl years ago, and he went down. He was an MVP candidate, went down in the middle of the season, and that's when Nick Foles came in.
Big Dick Nick. That's what I call him, by the way.
Large penis Nicholas.
Never change, Dan. Never change.
The fact that that they go out of their way to say Michael Penix and not Penix.
I mean, RG3 said like big Penix energy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure someone looked at him weird and was like, "Dude, really?"
He knew what he was doing. They probably dared him to do it. He was like, "All right."
Luke, correct me if I'm wrong. You are now a black belt in Taekwondo, correct?
I've been a black belt for a while, but yes.
Third dawn.
But point being, you are a black belt.
Yes.
So you are very, very advanced.
Yeah, he can kill a guy.
Yeah.
If he wanted to.
Well, I did. I wasn't gonna go in that closet, but okay.
I'm just curious, like that is like an athletic thing. I don't know if that would be considered a sport per se, but it is like an athletic thing.
Oh yeah, it's a sport.
Yeah. Believe it or not, Taekwondo, if I recall correctly, is an Olympic sport that people do get coached to participate in. Funny enough, my branch that I'm learning through is for like the sportish aspect of things, but
really?
I don't. Yeah. If let me be sure, because I don't want to give y'all incorrect information, because I would hate to do that.
Misinformation.
Fake news. But there are two branches of Taekwondo. There's ITF and WTF. And
I didn't know there was two branches. I thought it was all one thing.
If I recall correctly, like ITF is more based around the combat aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot more things are more on the table, like, punches and low kicks and things of that nature.
Oh, okay.
Whereas WTF is the sports version of it. So, like, when you see people like doing those spinning kicks and jumping high or moving pretty fast with kick combos, that's where I'm kind of into. But I have been
too, so.
But I have picked up I picked up like the fundamentals, like the groundwork for boxing, because so I could like be a little bit better with punching people.
Be like Jet Li, just walk up and just punch people.
Honestly, punching people is just a generally pretty good skill to have. I kid. But
man,
that was that last episode was 7 years ago. Were you still doing it then?
I had just started. I started in 2016. So I would have been 2017 would have been probably somewhere close to a year. So I might have been maybe a green belt or a blue stripe around that point in time.
Yeah, this was episode 5, Trust Fail.
Yep.
Now,
Yeah, that was a while ago. If it was 2017, so
Yeah.
yeah, because I remember
we started the show in the summer of 17, so this would have been probably more like the fall.
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, because it was during it was like after the football season because it's after football cookies.
Yeah, if summer, yeah, I think, yeah, I would have been either a green belt or a blue stripe at that point.
Yeah.
That was around the time that the first family tourney that I participated in for my school was, and I participated for the demo team for that, and that was hilarious. I'm fairly tempted to see if I can do that for a little bit longer, but we'll see. I haven't done demo team since I got my blue belt.
You should. That'd be dope.
Yeah, it'll give me something to do in my off time. I will say, being able to get through like the first few classes are usually the tough part, especially if you're not expecting what you're about to get into.
Am I pregnant? They be expecting.
What to expect when you're expecting?
That is.
But
Sorry,
yeah, but no, I was just saying, when I first started, I want to say the first 3 months, I was sore until I got used to it. Like my first teacher, I won't call her like a drill sergeant or anything, but it was more conditioning there than I had in the next one that came up.
So she kicked your ass.
there was more running, there was more stretching, there was a lot that we ended up doing, and it prepared me for the next couple of masters that came through. Granted, I gotta catch up on cardio because I'm a little out of shape since I'm back at desk job. But
walk or jog, man.
Nah, I'm like the hockey players from Letterkenny. Cardio.
I mean, once it decides to warm up a little bit, I'll start walking again. But that's what the exercise bike is for.
No. Once the snow disappears, you jog.
You should jog through the snow, and then you'll have really good videos to post online.
Jogging through the snow.
So, the motherfucking New England Patriots.
Let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something.
Week 1, you gave me a little hope. You won a game that I was expecting you to get blown out in. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then you lose a bunch of games. You get downright embarrassed. You got wide receivers who can't catch a cold or can't get separation. You got an offensive line that had your starter at the time, Jacoby Brissett, get the shit beat out of him. And then you bring Drake May in for a half against the first meeting against the Jets. He gets the shit beat out of him. And then eventually he becomes a starter. Probably should have been a starter in the first place, but due to that porous offensive line, and I'm saying porous when it's a good day for the offensive line. Every last one of them, with the exception of David Andrews, on the chopping block. You're not an NFL lineman. You're not good enough. You're barely, UFL material. You'll be better off going there. I'll be damned if you let Drake May get killed out there because we can't draft the offensive line. Offense being an absolute show because in the last, honestly, 15 years, we still haven't figured out how to draft a wide receiver. We got that. And then, okay, we beat the Bears. They're embarrassment within themselves. We beat the Jets. They're embarrassment amongst themselves. Then we get a glimmer of hope. The Raiders decided to win. The Giants decided to win. Week 18. We're going against the Bills. Yes, it's their JV team. But in the standings, you have the number 1 pick. Y'all been doing this all year long, all season long, losing. All you had to do was lose one more time. Should have been hard for you guys. But what do? You fucking win. Why? You decided to show heart after getting the doors blown off you by the Chargers? All the times I needed you guys to show fight. The Arizona game, the Rams game, the Seahawks game, any of the division games. But you choose this one to win? And you go from pick 1 to pick 4 when we needed a quality football player. What's his name? Travis Hunter.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yes.
We needed that guy because we don't need a playbook. Our wide receivers need a prayer book. And you pissed it away. So the Giants are gonna get Hunter, and the other teams we don't have to worry about. Shout out to my wife. The Titans get the number 1 pick, so that's a consolation for me. But you can't win that game. So this organization as a whole is a clusterfuck. They can't draft, they can't develop, and the one strength they did have was their defense regressed miserably. What does this team give us right now? It's not a fun product. It's not a productive product. Everything is and you don't have the number 1 pick. So from across the board, it's a show. You can't win when you're supposed to, and you can't lose when you're supposed to. That is textbook terrible organization. Go.
Yeah.
Inferno.
Yeah. I mean, so I have the Patriots 2024 schedule pulled up here, and I don't think we need to beat the horse to death. They were a shit team.
Seattle game should have been a win.
For a million other reasons. But
Miami game should have been a win.
Here's what I find funny is
and also the Titans.
looking at, like, they went into the season, they had the opportunity. And again, I like Jacoby Brissett. Like it was kind of cool that he like came full circle and got to come back and be this opening day starter this year.
He had a clear ceiling.
Yeah. You look at just his passing yards from the first 5 games, 121, 149, 98, 168, 160. He didn't even sniff at breaking 200 passing yards.
He couldn't do anything. He had like 2 seconds.
And then Drake May came in and immediately threw for 243 in his first game. Is that amazing? No. But my point is just that. They had a look at Drake May in training camp, and they had a look at Jacoby Brissett in training camp, and they were like, I guess we'll start the veteran. I don't know.
Well, they knew what they had, that offensive line was garbage. They just didn't want to like get fired and getting Drake killed out there.
And so
that's what that was.
Some of this is shit that we covered in like our last or whatever that was. Maybe our last. Yeah, I guess it was the recording we did at your house, D.
Yeah, it was the last one.
That was the last one. It's just weird. Everything about this team is weird now, and it's like not normal for how things are done in the NFL. And it's amazing how like winning and like having Tom Brady and Bill Belichick like papered over so much like just weirdness about the franchise for so long, because like again, like they just don't do anything normally. Like I didn't realize this. The
draft Polk over Conklin.
Well, that, and I mean they traded, what was it? Fuck, I gotta look at the draft. Hold on. This is important.
Jeez. Don't do that. Don't do that. You'll cry.
I mean, yes, I will, but
Keon Coleman. Yeah.
So right here. So yeah.
Honky.
So the Patriots traded down with the Chargers. The Patriots traded from round 2 pick 2 to round 2 pick 5 with the Chargers, right?
Yeah.
They drafted Jalen Polk, who
benefited immensely from like Rome Odonzi and Michael Penix.
The Chargers picked Ladd McConkey, who is like very good. And yeah, dude had 1,000 yards in his rookie season. Guess how many fucking yards Jalen Polk had? You want to guess?
80.
87 for the season. So they traded down, still didn't get their guy. And the guy that did get picked, and I mean, they've been doing this for fucking years. Like, they picked N'Keal Harry when fucking DJ Metcalf was available. Like,
and AJ Brown and McLaurin. We know the sing and dance.
Like, wide receiver is like their thing, that they just don't draft wide receivers. And
unless they're in the 7th round and they're scrappy white guys.
And let's be honest, if they didn't hit on Gronk,
shout out the Jules.
If they did not hit on Gronk and Aaron Hernandez in 2011, they probably don't win any of those second 3 set of Super Bowls.
Brady leaves like 3 years early.
Probably. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So
87.
Something I didn't know is, so the whole thing with Gerard Mayo, where he like became the crown prince and had it written into his contract that whenever Bill left, he was just automatically the head coach without a search and hiring process. That was written into his contract at the, I want to say, like beginning of the 2023 season. Yeah, because there was like rumblings that he might leave for a better coaching job somewhere else.
He was unproven.
So they were like,
that was a dumb decision.
So Bob Kraft was like, I have to do this to keep him here because I believe in him. Right? Fair enough.
Cheaper to keep him. Mm-hmm.
Actually, really not fair enough. That is an incredibly just weird, dubious decision to make anyway. But then the 2023 season goes completely off the rails, and they really had no choice but to fire Bill. And they fired him, and then Bob Kraft spent the whole summer like sabotaging him every time he tried to get another job. And like, that's some fucking weird vindictive shit. And I realized
that's some mafia shit right there.
Old rich men are just weird in general. Like, you don't become an old rich man without being weird. So that's not that surprising, but like, it's just strange and it's bizarre and it's vindictive for no reason. And Bill was so disillusioned that he went to North Carolina and gave up on the NFL, gave up on being the winningest head coach of all time.
Right now, Brady could lure him.
No.
I hope to God no, because then I'll probably hate Brady.
He's not. No, he took that job because he knows he's not going back to the NFL. He's gonna coach Carolina for like 4 or 5 years and then retire.
He's gonna go back to coaching the NFL. He's getting Shula.
100% he will not.
He'd be like, He'd be like Joe Paterno, 85, coaching in the NFL, man.
Tell you what. If Bill Belichick ever coaches in the NFL again, I will drive to wherever you are and I will give you $20.
Drew, you gotta give me $20. Just give me a candy bar.
All right, I'll give you a candy bar. I'll give you a Milky Way.
A candy bar and $20.
A candy bar with $20 wrapped around it.
Well, what do you get? So a vegan version of that?
But at any rate, so the point of all this is the point is in my pants.
Always.
You know, they locked themselves into Mayo. Then the next season went horribly, so they had no choice but to fire Bill. So now they're locked into Mayo, taking over when he's not ready, which is maybe why you don't do that, so that you do a proper head coaching search and bring in somebody who's, again, and nothing against Gerard Mayo, he's an awesome dude, but like someone who's actually qualified and prepared to do the job. And I mean, it was like clear almost immediately that it was a disaster.
He was never a coordinator. He was never a coordinator.
He really didn't even have that much coaching experience, period. And
this is like moving Joe Judge and Matt Patricia to call plays for a pivotal moment.
This is not that bad.
Okay, it's not that bad, but it's getting there.
This is like a 6 out of 10. That was like a 10 out of 10.
Oh yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
My point
I'm still salty about that.
Yeah, me too. Yes, the process was bad. The result was bad. It was almost immediately a disaster with Mayo. It was like every week he would say something weird or wrong in a press conference and then had to immediately walk it back. Even up to like the end of the season, where there was a game, one of the last couple 2 or 3 games, where he like told the media Ramondre Stevenson was not going to start.
And then
the game began and Ramondre Stevenson was out there on the first play with the first team. Like he had no idea he wasn't starting.
And probably fumbled during the game too.
Maybe, but like, you know what I mean? Like that's the kind of shit that like tells you things are like extremely disorganized, like incompetent and unprofessional, like in the building. And that's not just Gerard Mayo. That's the whole organization at this point.
Whoever got the defensive coordinator sucked. And he should be fired along with whoever hired him.
Mayo's a defensive coach, so in theory, he was in charge of the defense. So that's really him. Like,
well, he sucked too.
And then they brought in Alex Van Pelt to like run the offense, who was just like, what if we just ran on 1st and 10 and then 2nd and 10 every single drive? And oh, by the way, we have no offensive line, so on 3rd and 10, Drake May is going to get immediately pressured and then have to run around and throw the ball away, and that's just going to be every drive.
And there were some games where he got hurt. So yeah.
I mean, their offensive line is so bad they're really running the risk of like fucking him up on the way like David Carr got fucked up. Yeah, the whole thing was fucked. They really had no choice but to fire him. I mean, and the thing is, like, you know, Kraft really staked a lot of his reputation on the like Mayo. I guess you can't call it a hire, but the whatever the hell that was, the succession.
There was Harbaugh.
And then, had to fucking pull the plug after 1 year. And I mean, I guess, you know, fair enough. He wasn't too prideful that he let it continue. But like, you know, when you fuck something up and then walk it back, you don't get credit for walking it back.
It's like, I'm borrowing this for like a former YouTuber. It's like you go to this neighbor's yard and you start taking this that has a dog in their yard, and you have a stick, and you start poking the dog, just poking it, and the dog bites the hell out of you, and then you run away, and be like, oh yeah, you were smart to run away. No, it wasn't smart to get in there in the first place. You knew it was a bad idea to be in there with the dog. You had Harbaugh that you could have strove for it. If you swung and a miss and then got Mayo, fine. But you didn't even try to get the marquee names.
I mean, we'll get there because the rumor has it that like Vrabel is the leading candidate for the job going forward. But like Vrabel was available last year and they couldn't do it because they had already committed to a head coach a year beforehand. Anyway,
I like Vrabes, but I also like the idea of getting an offensive-minded coach too for the first time since ever.
Well, I mean,
it feels
maybe it's Vrabes and like I don't know, Josh McDaniels can't do anything else than call plays, so you never know. No, but
I trust him to call plays. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The only other point, I mean, this just we could talk about this for another hour and not run out of breath. But
honestly, by all means, I can brew some coffee.
But just to say, the only other point I want to make is then the other news that came down is that Elliot Wolf is going to stay on as the de facto GM.
Why? He proved he can't drop the receiver. Why is he still here?
Like,
why are you taking a coach and nothing else? Oh, well, wait and see. No, nuke the shit out of this. It was a bad team from top to bottom. Start clean.
Yes. Here's the thing. So this is not as bad as Ryan Grigson, but the same logic applies where like, yes, he did pick Drake May. He did not f that up. But
man, somebody with their eyes closed could pick that.
They had the third pick and there were 3 consensus quarterbacks. So Drake May was the obvious pick there. You don't
And if they didn't win, they could have probably got Jaden Daniels.
For the same reason where like if you forget what time the fantasy draft is and you accidentally do like half of it on auto draft, you don't get credit for like having Saquon Barkley on your team this year, like because auto draft took him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, or I guess maybe the better example is like, actually all the top picks were horrible this year, but like you don't get credit for like having Justin Jefferson on your team because auto draft took him in the first round. Like that's the obvious choice. You get credit when you like take somebody in the 7th round and they're awesome.
Edelman
or whatever. And like
you also get credit if you hit the 2nd round.
Yeah, it's like what else has Elliot Wolf done for this team? Like he's had, again, I feel like I'm a broken record. Like the needle's just skipping and skipping and skipping. Like he's had years and years to fix the offensive line. It was a problem Mac Jones' first year. I guess Bill was the GM.
He still somehow flourished.
But like, ever since Elliot Wolf has been running the team, like the offensive line has been a problem and he's not fixed it. And he's not even really tried. Like he's just brought in like these just veteran cast-offs and just guys that suck, guys that wouldn't be backups on other teams, and he's asking them to be starters, and it's just a disaster.
Remember we had a chance to get Ridley, but he was like something girlfriend, whatever, didn't want to live him there or something?
No, that was Robert Kraft. Robert Kraft was the one that said, that claimed he didn't come here because of his girlfriend, and like,
I believe that.
That's also weird, which, it's well established that Bob Kraft is a weird guy, but,
I mean, yeah, there's multiple reasons for that, but who wants to come to New England?
Yeah,
like free agency wise, used to be people were falling over themselves, willing to take a pay cut to play with New England, but no, not play for New England, play for Brady and Belichick.
Yep.
No one's coming to New England. It's too damn cold, and like New England is not LA, Miami, or even New York. So it's not a nightlife and all that stuff. It's not the cool, hip place to be at. Unless you're like a diehard fan who's really takes pride in being like, on this team or something like that, and really loves the fans, like the Rabbit fan base and stuff like that. Otherwise, what is there for like a young aspiring player or a veteran to come to New England? Especially when you can get your butts kicked.
Yeah. No, it's yes, no, not we have a quarterback, which I think automatically makes us have a better outlook than the Browns, the Giants, the Raiders, the Titans, so forth and so on, the Saints. But
the Titans will get Cam Ward, so they'll be on their way.
Possibly the Dolphins. realistically, like, again, this is where I go back to like process versus results. Okay, you have a quarterback, but what about any of the team's like process up to this point leaves you feeling optimistic that they're not gonna like fuck this up?
I'm not optimistic because they didn't get better across the season. As the season went on, they got worse. Yes, there was some games, there was like some outliers where they fought hard and this and that. But like when you look at like, you know, I was listening like to like you know, some of the podcasts, like you know, Boston podcasts and stuff. But like they mentioned like the Arizona game coming off a bye. You got waxed by them. You can't. There's no way you should be getting waxed by the Arizona. It should at least be a yes. They have more talent than you, and you should lose to them, but not convincingly. Like, and there's no way to like. They're not, and also the Chargers are not like 40-7 better than you guys. Come on. Like it was things like that where this thing is going down. There's no improvements. There's nothing to there's no positive momentum to go into next season. It's just like I just saw like in some areas regression, man.
And the other thing is, it
wasn't a good product to watch either.
Yeah, we already covered the like epic fuck up of like missing out on the number 1 draft pick. But like, here's the thing about that. Odds are they're probably still going to get their guy at 4 because the 3 teams ahead of them all want quarterbacks.
But the Giants they're not going to draft the quarterback. They're going to draft best available. So they're going to get Hunter. 1-2 punch with him and Neighbors. Ooh, watch out.
No,
and they'll probably get Cousins.
Need a quarterback. They need a quarterback.
They'll get Cousins in free agency. That's what the Giants do.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I hope not. But my point is, they need at bats, like almost in the Sixers sense. Like they just need at bats. They need picks. They need high picks.
Well, we had an opportunity, and we could trade it down from 1 to 4 and accumulate even more picks. But no, we had to win.
Exactly. Everywhere on the team, like Christian Gonzalez is good. There isn't anybody else good in the secondary.
Christian Gonzalez is the one guy.
They dumped Matthew Judon before the season, so they really don't have much else on defense. Like,
did you see Judon's production this past year with Atlanta? That was kind of like a bullet dodge.
Yeah, he was already starting to fall off. But you know, the offense is well documented that has very little talent other than like Pop Douglas, who ideally is a 3rd receiver, not a 1 receiver.
He's a slot. Yeah. He's the element guy. We just need 2 guys to open things up for him. But I love Pop.
No, he's awesome. He's great.
He's the one few guys that got hands.
He's unironically a winning player and probably deserves to be on a better team.
Kendrick Bourne deserves to be on a better team.
Oh yeah,
Poor guy.
He will be soon. There's so much to say. I think we can keep going for a while, but yeah, it just sucks. The outlook is not great. There are reasons to be optimistic, but again, like I
don't see any right now. Yeah. Other than Drake May, I don't see any. Because say if we do get Hunter, right? Who's to say we won't screw up his development as well?
Yeah. And I mean, as talented as we think Drake May is, it's worth noting that he did not have like a Jaden Daniels-like effect on the team because they just weren't. The rest of the team was so bad that they couldn't make that kind of jump.
Well, look at Washington's team surrounding Jaden Daniels versus Drake May. Alone, they got McLaurin.
F1 McLaurin.
They have a true number 1. The guy we should have bought on.
By the way, here's how we'll wrap up the segment. Trivia time, and don't look at the thing. Trivia time.
Okay.
What is the 2024 New England Patriots' highest score of the season? What is the most points they scored in a single game?
24.
30.
25.
Hey, I was 1 off.
So I'll just leave it at that.
That's your mic drop moment.
By the way, Dick Almighty is actually the third sequel in the Bruce Almighty series of movies.
Oh my gosh, lost my damn mind.
We're cutting that.
No,